Welcome to 4x3, a review show where I tell you 4 things I like and 3 things I didn't like about a game I played recently. This week we're reviewing Denshattack. From the moment I first saw Denshattack on social media a while back, I thought it looked like the most fun I was going to have in 2026. Its standout visual style and flashy gameplay hooked me in immediately, and I thought I was going to 100% it when it finally came out. So when I found out it was on Xbox Game Pass, I was pretty hyped. Let's find out if that initial hype managed to keep the combo going or if I felt like I should have bailed at the start. One of the things that bugged me the most was the lack of options in the options menu. It was about as bog standard as you could get, barely having a passable selection of changeable options for the game at all. Sure, there's a standard audio slider to help balance it, as well as incredibly basic controller options. Bonus points, though, for letting me turn off vibration. But even the video section is lacking, only letting players adjust the brightness. I know my television is on the old side. I got it when I was like 15 and I'm 32 now. But the game autofilled to this ratio that was a bit too large for the screen, so I couldn't see all of the UI or pop-up text on the side of the screen. The accessibility options overlook some incredibly easy to come up with options. It's great we can turn down the shake of the camera and the motion blur, but where's the option to auto jump? I sometimes struggled with the timing windows on that, and I can't help but think of a disabled creator I know who has been struggling with his favorite game, Apex Legends, due to how sped up the movement is lately. This gentleman has cerebral palsy and loves playing games. I think he'd dig Denshattack, but currently I doubt he would even be able to play it without the implementation of an auto jump feature. Just something to help make players' lives a little easier when playing this game that can be toggled off for the people who don't want it or don't need it. I also wish there was some sort of option to always have the controls pop up on the side when I'm switching terrain, because I kept finding myself on later stages having some issues remembering or executing moves. Which brings me to my next point. It sometimes felt like the game had too much going on. Having to chain so much stuff together was often the most annoying part, especially when the game or myself responded a fraction of a second too late to the input. It felt like the cart never wanted to stick to the wall for a wall ride during some of the parts, as I would fling from the hanging part that it has you on, or like slam down, then immediately have to jump back up and try to stick to the wall. It just sometimes wouldn't happen, and it got super frustrating. Those were the biggest instances where I wonder how much more of this game I could have had left. And sure, some of that is on me. I could have just stopped playing or taken a break, but I had to cram in as much as I could during the few hours I have outside of externship for school, driving my sister to and from her extern site, and getting her back home so she can change and get to work. It was just like, I didn't really have the luxury of setting the game down if I wanted to get the review out. It wasn't always as simple as just setting it down. I did my best to keep myself in check to deliver an honest review here, but small things like this really brought down my enjoyment of the game. It irks the hell out of me when a game has partial dialogue. What I mean is when the game has this cast of characters and they only say words about 40% of the time for the full cinematic. The rest of the time, it's just these persona style pop ups accented with different barks of or oh as it switches dialogue. That stuff gets on my nerves a lot. It's part of the reason I quit playing Okami, which is because that's all that was. You already have the actor there. You paid them. Just do the full fucking script. Also, if you're going to have dialogue boxes, make sure there's a way to make them auto advance. I don't want to have to hit A after every single line of dialogue or speech bubble. It's irritating. Moving over to things I love. The soundtrack is amazing. Each region has a standout bop that made me want to get the soundtrack to the game. The characters and art style are fantastic. Each gang does a superb job distinguishing its regions and itself and making them feel unique. Despite the issues I mentioned earlier, reaching a flow state in this game feels just as rewarding as it did in Tony Hawk's Underground. The achievement list for this game feeds into that pretty well, offering achievements for tasks such as hitting 5 tricks on a jump and chaining together 25 tricks in a single combo. I also love the way this game handles collectibles. Each level, there are items like gears and spray paint cans that can be used in-game as currency to unlock items and customizations. There's even an in-game magazine the characters work on that shows off some of the bigger moments and offers a great summary of the characters you meet along the way, which is a super unique way to tackle the bog standard like character bio section we usually see somewhere in a menu in games. Though the game felt a bit long in the tooth at times, with chapters 3 and 5 and a couple later ones notably dragging, as well as only basic customization options on top of everything else I talked about, I still enjoyed my time with Denshattack, though I wish I had a slightly higher praise for it. If you're looking for a game that echoes Tony Hawk in the spirit of Jet Set Radio, this is the game to pick up. And I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up my favorite boss fight in the game. The end boss for Chapter 7 was absolutely S tier, and it was challenging and nostalgic and perfectly executed. It's a Guitar Hero style section where you trick to the rhythm of the beat, and it's so well done. So I give Denshattack 6.8 spray painted train cans out of 10. I was originally going to give this game a 7 despite the repetition, despite the length, purely because that boss fight was so good. At the time, I couldn't agree with anything below a 7. But the rest of the game left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth for the final few levels. I got really annoyed when the game finally felt like it was concluding. Spoilers, by the way, alright? You've been warned. We beat the goddamn train we set out to. We hit a perfect stopping point where there was sequel potential and the game was wrapped enough to end. Then it just felt like, nope, fuck you, when they sent me to the goddamn moon to go fight it again. Which, there were parts of that were even annoying. Like, trying to fly. I don't want to get into it. Just, if you play the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. I want to reiterate that on a scale of 1 to 10, 5 is considered average. So a game that gets a score of 6.8 is above average. I may have not clicked with every single aspect of this game, but the story and the characters are enough for me to encourage you to get this. It was clearly a game made with a ton of love by the developers, and it deserves its flowers. So don't be put off trying it just because I gave it the score that I did. At the end of the day, I'm no one. I'm just Cass, a guy who sometimes reviews games on the internet. Thank you all so much for watching. Hit the sub button, share the video with a friend, and let me know, did you play Denshattack down below? Did you love it? Did you like it more than I did? Do you think the review score I gave it is unfair? Let me know all of that down below in the comments. And as always, be good people.